And for those guys who are just joining me, 𝘿𝙧 𝘿𝙧 Performance Plus Physical Therapy. This is Q&A with Dr. D. And today we are going through the question, what helps hip pain while sleeping? So we've been going through quite a couple of different questions when it comes to hip pain. And talking about where hip pain can be coming from, different sources of hip pain, how it affects you, what things can or cannot be beneficial in terms of helping hip pain. Today we are talking about what happens if you start having hip pain while you sleep. Because if you're sleeping, it's really difficult for you to start doing things in order to make sure that you're not in pain because you're asleep for obvious reasons. So what happens if you're having hip pain while you're sleeping? So there are a couple of things that can be causing hip pain while you're sleeping, and this depends entirely on the position of where you're sleeping that may be causing that pain. So, for example, if you find yourself sleeping on your back and that you start having hip pain on either side, there's a good chance that the hip pain is actually coming in from your lower back versus from your hips. If you're sleeping on your side, either your right or from your left side, you have two sources of potentially of hip pain. You can get hip pain either from compression of the pain in terms of lying on that particular side. So basically, if you're laying on your right side, you can have pain on the right side. Or if you're having pain on the left side, again, that could be something that's coming in from a compression or a mechanical issue happening on the left side or coming in from the back. Long story short, regardless of what the origin is, chances are if you adjust your posture and your positioning, that you may be able to get rid of your hip pain. That pain is usually coming on because that body does not like being in that position, and that aggravates some sort of tissue, some sort of nerve, some sort of ligament, and that starts sending signals to your body that it's painful in this position. So adjusting your posture is probably the best bet for you to alleviate any pain symptoms while you're sleeping. So let's talk about what does that look like. If you are a back sleeper, the key for you guys to really eliminate and make sure that you have great posture in your lumbar spine is to make sure that your lumbar spine is in, for the most part, a neutral position. And that means that you may have to put a couple of pillows underneath your thighs and underneath your knees in order to support your legs to make sure that your back or your lumbar spine is able to even out that curve so you're not in an overly arched position. Okay, so you would find that if you're laying on your back, a lot of people usually, hey, how are you doing, Nia? A lot of people would usually put a pillow lengthwise underneath the knees. And what that allows it to do is it really allows to bring your knees above the level of your pelvis, and that helps to even out the position of your pelvis. What I would advise you guys to do that's going to be a little bit more beneficial for you is to turn that pillow the other way, lengthways, and stuff it right underneath your butt cheeks, not underneath your butt itself, but right at the top of your thighs. So it really supports the entire length of your thighs. And what that does is that it supports the entire leg along with changing the alignment of your pelvis that allows you to get into that neutral position. I urge you guys to try that. Now, depending on your dimensions, depending on how tall, how short you are, how long your torso is, how short or long your legs are, you may need more than one pillow. So I encourage you guys to try that a little bit. You may need to use a couple of layered pillows, or you need to use thicker pillows in order to make sure that your back is in that neutral position. Okay, so that's one thing that you can do in terms of making sure that your pelvis is in a neutral alignment when you're laying on your back. In terms of laying on your side, there are a couple of different things that you guys can do, and also to make sure that your lumbar spine and that your hips are in a neutral position. So for most people, when you're laying on your side, if you have, and this is specifically also for a lot of women, if you have pretty wide hips, if you're laying on your side, and you guys can try this out right now as you're listening to me, if you lay on your side, you would find that if your right side, if you're laying on your right side, is you're laying down, that's contacting the floor or the surface that you're laying on. It actually also means that your pelvis is actually on a little bit of an angle. Okay, so either your pelvis is tilted up, depending on the way that you're looking at it, or your lumbar spine is arching down in order for your spine or the side of your body to contact the surface that you're lying on. So in general, what you want to do is have a little bit of a reversal of that. If you're laying on your side and you can imagine that your spine is just these links that sit one on top of each other going all the way down, you can see that there's going to be a little bit of a curve from one side to the other depending on how gravity is pulling you. And you can use positioning and pillows and towels in order to change that alignment to make sure that your spine lies in a very correct position. So I would, and I have a little bit of a towel here, I would urge you guys to get a hand towel just like this, okay? And you can fold this hand towel in two and then fold it in three so that when you have it here, when it's compressed, it comes up to about an inch in width. And you can place that hand towel right above your hip bone or right on the top of your pelvis. And when you lay on that, what it's going to do is it's going to support your lumbar spine so you're not getting that arch and gravity is not pulling you down into that position and causing that curve that can start bothering your back. Okay. Another thing that you can do is, again, using pillows to help position and put between your knees or between your legs to support your legs so that the weight of your legs is now not curving your spine or curving your hips into a way as gravity pulls you down to change your alignment. So you're really making sure that you're lining up just as you would stand up nice and tall with your feet hip width apart. You want to have that same alignment when you're laying down. And you need support underneath your knees and you need support underneath your lumbar spine to maintain that straight line. So I hope that is helpful for you guys. In terms of sleeping in general, when you're having pain when you're sleeping, a lot of you guys will really find that if you are a tosser and a turner and you tend to move around a lot, chances are your body's not in a naturally comfortable position. So if you've been sleeping for a couple of hours and you feel like you twist and you turn or your neck is weird or you feel a little bit of a pinch in your hips or your back, that's probably because your body's not in a comfortable position and you need a little bit more support and your body is giving you this pain signal to get out of that position. So that's your cue. So try and lay down in your bed or the surface that you're laying on at night and start paying attention to where you're having pain. And you can start using either pillows or towels like I just used in order to make sure that you're supported through your spine and also through your knees to make sure that your back is not contributing to any hip pain that you're having or your hip is not in an awkward position where gravity is pulling it down and causing any pain. Okay. For those guys who may specifically be having pain when you're laying on your side and that's the side that's painful, you may need to change your position as your body weight on that hip is probably going to be aggravating. The same as if you had knee pain, kneeling on your knees and putting your body weight on your knees would be painful. The same thing with the hips. So you want to accommodate that and switch positions to allow that area to heal a little bit more. And that's going to allow you, a little bit of space to allow that to rest so that you're able to get some better sleep. Hi, Kiva, how are you? All right, so that's a little bit of a summary of things that you can do when if you're having hip pain when you're sleeping. If you do have questions or comments, drop it in the comments below, guys. Kiva, hey, how you doing? Nia, how are you? Drop it in the comments below. Same for you guys on Facebook. If you do have questions or comments about what we've been talking about today, drop it in the comments. Share this with someone if you think this may be helpful for somebody that you know may be having hip pain when they're sleeping. And just to give you a little bit of a quick summary again for those guys who've just come on, there are a couple of things that you want to accommodate if you're having pain when you sleep. If you're laying on your back, use some pillows to support your knees to unload the weight and that extra curve that gravity is going to pull in terms of getting your pelvis down and arching your spine if you're laying on your back. And also if you're laying on your side, you can use some positioning in terms of using a towel right underneath your lumbar spine if you're laying on your right side, so right underneath your rib cage, and also a pillow lengthways alongside your legs to support your legs and support your knees and to help you get in the right position so that gravity is not sinking you down into your lumbar spine or your lower back and also sinking you down in terms of pulling the weight down in your knees that will change your alignment. So that's a big little overarching some tips that can really be helpful for you because pain when you're sleeping is no bueno. We all know that. Hey, Coach Adana, how are you? So I hope that answers your questions for today. Again, drop any comments that you have in the chat about hip pain that you may be having. Tomorrow, which is going to be Friday, I am losing track of time, guys. But tomorrow is going to be Friday, and tomorrow I'm going to go over exercises for hip pain. So if that's of real interest to you, make sure you tune in tomorrow, tag a friend, let them know about this broadcast. I think it would be helpful for a lot of guys to get a little bit of direction of, okay, I'm having this hip pain. What do I do about it? So I'm going to go through a couple of exercises about that. Okay. Hey, Alan, how are you? So good to see you. So Kiva on IG guys says, doing good. I had hip pain while sleeping. Your guidance in my long body pillow really helped me. I'm so glad that it helped you, Kiva. It can be it can be a lifesaver. There's nothing worse than getting up feeling tired and groggy because you've been in pain and tossing and turning all night. So having something that can really help you to get more rest is really going to go very far for whatever is going on with your hips or your lower back, but also just for your mental health, also just for your general outcome, just feeling a lot more comfortable getting up well rested at night. And anything interrupting your sleep can really start chipping away at how you're able to manage your symptoms and also indirectly handle your daily activities. So I'm really glad that was really helpful for you, Kivo. I am going to look at Facebook and let's see if we have any other questions going on here. Don't see any other questions. Guys, tag someone who this may be helpful for. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Tomorrow I'm going to be going over some key exercises that you guys can do to strengthen the hips. Okay, the muscles of the hips are very, very important. It is something that can be really key in terms of your mobility, how much you can sit, how much can you stand, how much can you walk. The hips I like to call really the powerhouse of the body, because if things are not working there, it affects everything above and also below. So I am really passionate about talking about hips and the core and the pelvis. So I hope this was helpful. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I will see you guys tomorrow on Friday for Q&A with Dr. D. All right. Bye, guys.